That bag of bread on your counter right now, it might be the worst one. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which bread to throw out tonight, and what to replace it with. Let's go. Last week, we exposed Australia's biggest bread brands. This week, we're going further. 10 brands. Ranked from bad to absolutely unforgivable. Some of these are sitting in your pantry right now. Number 10 is where we start. Brand number 10 is Nature's Own Butter Bread. The name alone is doing a lot of work here. Nature's Butter. It sounds wholesome, almost homemade. The reality is a soft white loaf, built for shelf life, not nutrition. Vegetable oil, soy flour, vinegar, and a string of emulsifiers, including 471 and 481, keep this bread soft for weeks past, when real bread would be growing mold. There's nothing close to actual butter in it. The name is flavor marketing, not an ingredient list. You're paying a premium for a word, not a difference in what's inside the bag. Number 9 is Sara Lee Texas Toast. Thick cut, marketed as indulgent. The kind of bread you buy because it photographs well in a sandwich. Look past the thickness and you'll find calcium propionate doing the heavy lifting as a preservative, along with mono and diglycerides to keep the texture soft, despite sitting on a truck and then a shelf for weeks. The bread is engineered to survive freezing, thawing, toasting, and still bounce back soft. That kind of durability doesn't come from flour and water. It comes from a formulation built in a lab, not a bakery. Brand number 8 is Pepperidge Farm Farmhouse Potato Bread. Farmhouse is the key word they want you to focus on. Picture a farmhouse kitchen. Fresh potatoes, someone's grandmother kneading dough. What you're actually getting is potato flour added in a small enough quantity to legally use the word potato. Padded out with the same dough conditioners and preservatives found in their basic white loaf. The premium price tag, often $2 to $3 more than a standard loaf, buys you a slightly different crumb texture and a more expensive sounding name. The ingredient list barely changes. Number 7 is King's Hawaiian Sweet Rolls. These show up at every barbecue and family dinner because they're soft, sweet, and impossible to stop eating. That's not an accident. The sweetness comes from a combination of sugar and high fructose corn syrup, and the rolls are loaded with dough conditioners to get that pillowy texture people love. A single roll can carry more added sugar than people expect from something they think of as bread rather than dessert. They're treated like a bread aisle item, priced like a bread aisle item, but nutritionally, they sit closer to a sweet treat. Nobody tells you that on the packaging. Now we're halfway. Things start getting worse from here. If you've made it this far and you're starting to side-eye your own pantry, good, that's the point. Before we get into the top 5, hit subscribe. We go through a different supermarket category every single week, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Now let's talk about the brands that really make me angry. Number 6 is Pepperidge Farm Raisin Cinnamon Swirl Bread. This one targets families directly. Kids love it. Parents feel okay buying it because it has raisin in the name and looks homemade with that swirl pattern. Here's the problem. The cinnamon swirl is achieved using added sugars, artificial flavoring, and a thickened paste full of stabilizers to keep that swirl from collapsing during baking and shipping. The raisins are real, but they're a small percentage of the overall loaf, padded out with the same preservative-heavy white bread base as everything else in the range. You're paying a premium for a swirl pattern and a name that sounds like dessert and breakfast had a baby, and parents are buying it as a treat that's basically bread, when it's really sugar-dense bread dressed up as a treat. Brand number 5 is Baker's Delight. That fresh-baked smell in store is real. What's not real is the idea that the dough was made there. Most of it arrives frozen from central production facilities and gets thawed and baked on site. The premium loaves, the ones with seeds and grains on top, still carry calcium propionate and a familiar lineup of emulsifiers. You're paying $8 or $9 for bread with nearly the same additive profile as a $4 supermarket loaf, just with better lighting and a nicer smell in the store. Now the top 4. These are the brands where the gap between marketing and reality gets genuinely offensive. Number 4 is Coles Bakery bread. People trust this one because they watch it come out of an oven inside the store. If it's baked right there, it must be simple, right? Wrong. The dough is shipped in frozen from industrial production facilities, then thawed and baked by store staff. Because it's sold as in-store bakery rather than packaged goods, the full ingredient list often isn't required on the shelf the same way it would be on a packaged loaf. That lack of transparency is the real problem. You can't make an informed decision about something you can't read the label of. And several Coles bakery products have shown visible mold within days, despite the preservative load, which tells you the issue isn't a lack of chemicals, it's how the bread is handled before it ever reaches the shelf. Number 3 is Woolworth's Macro Organic bread. The organic label does a lot of emotional lifting here, and at $9 a loaf, it's asking you to pay for peace of mind. The catch is that organic, in this case, typically only certifies the wheat flour itself. Everything else added to the formulation, oils, gluten, preservatives that meet organic standards, doesn't have to be anything special, just technically compliant. Parents reaching for this bread believe they're making a meaningfully different choice for their kids. In reality, they're often getting a loaf that's only marginally different from a conventional one, at roughly double the price, wrapped in packaging designed to look like a farm rather than a factory. We're at the final 2 now. Number 2 is Tip Top. This is the bread a lot of us grew up on, and that nostalgia is exactly what keeps people loyal to it as adults, even as the ingredient list has only grown longer over the decades. Sorbic acid, acetic acid, and a combination of numbered emulsifiers, including 471, 472E, and 481, keep the bread soft for weeks. Some of these emulsifiers are derived from palm oil or petroleum byproducts, which is not something most people picture when they think of a childhood staple. Tip Top is owned by one of the largest food conglomerates in the region, and the brand loyalty built over decades is now funding a company posting massive annual revenue, while the actual formulation of the bread has been quietly optimized for shelf life over nutrition. And now, number 1. The worst offender on this entire list. Pepperidge Farm Hearty White Bread. I want to explain exactly why this one tops the list, because on the surface, it doesn't look any different from a dozen other white loaves. That's exactly the problem. It's marketed as hearty, a word meant to suggest substance, fiber, something more filling and wholesome than basic white bread. Read the ingredient panel, and you'll find it's essentially the same enriched white flour base as the cheapest loaf on the shelf, just with a name designed to make you feel better about buying white bread. It carries the same preservative load, calcium propionate among them, and the same dough conditioners as budget loaves a third of the price. There is functionally no meaningful nutritional upgrade here. What you are paying for is a single word on the packaging: hearty. That's it. That's the whole premium. Out of every brand on this list, this is the one that bothers me most, because it isn't even trying to hide behind organic certification or a farmhouse story or a fresh-baked smell. It's just charging you more for the exact same product, banking on the fact that nobody reads past the front of the bag. I know this is a lot to take in. You just want to make toast in the morning without needing a chemistry degree to feel okay about it. So here's what actually helps. Real bakery bread from independent local bakers is genuinely different. 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and a natural starter. No numbers, no stabilizers, no conditioners. It costs more, usually $8 to $12 a loaf, because it takes longer to make and uses better ingredients. It goes stale within a few days, which is actually a good sign. That's what bread is supposed to do: freeze it and toast slices as you need them. If a full switch to artisan bread isn't realistic for your budget, look for simpler supermarket options with shorter ingredient lists. Generally under 10 ingredients, all things you can actually pronounce. You'll still see a small number of additives, but nowhere near the level of the brands on this list. It's a reasonable middle ground, and if you have the time and genuinely enjoy it, baking your own bread at home puts you in full control. It costs roughly $1 to $2 in ingredients per loaf, and you know exactly what went into it. It's not realistic for everyone with a busy schedule, and that's completely fine, but it's worth knowing the option exists. Here's the pattern across every single brand on this list. Different names, different packaging, different price points, but the same handful of preservatives and emulsifiers showing up again and again. That's not a coincidence. A small number of large companies control most of the bread aisle, and they've found that customers will pay more for the same formulation as long as the story on the label sounds better. Hearty, farmhouse, organic, baked fresh. Words doing the work that ingredients should be doing. So here's what to actually do next time you're in the bread aisle. Flip the bag over before you flip it into your trolley. Count the ingredients. If you can't pronounce more than a couple of them, put it back. Check how long it claims to stay fresh. If it's measured in weeks rather than days, ask yourself why. And don't let words like hearty, or farmhouse, or organic substitute for actually reading the label. This isn't just about bread. It's about a food system where marketing language is doing more work than ingredients to convince you you're making a healthy choice. Next week, we're moving to the cereal aisle, and what I found there might be even harder to swallow. Comment below and tell me which brand you want investigated next. If this video changed how you'll shop, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe, because we're doing this every single week, one aisle at a time. Stay informed, stay healthy, and check that label before it goes in your trolley.